All right, so when you start printmaking, you're going to be working with a couple things when you're at your station. Each station is going to have a container of ink, and it's very oil-based, so it's real sticky, thick ink. You'll have what's called a palette knife so that you can get the ink out of there. You'll have a brayer or a roller, whatever you want to call it. There will be baby oil over there, which is used to clean off the board or the plexiglass. And then if you could tell right here, this is plexiglass. That's why we only have 2 stations, because there's only 2 of those that I have. All right. And then you can see over on the left, we've got the cut linoleum on top of a piece of newspaper, and then you have your actual piece you're going to print to. All right. So that's what you're going to start with over there. The first thing that you need to do, and I don't know if you can tell from the video up here, but there is a little piece of like wax paper. You can't really tell, but there's a piece of wax paper on top of the ink just to help seal it off. You just need to use your palette knife to pull that off, and then you can get yourself a scoop of the ink. Like I said, it's real sticky, and then you're just going to spread it across the top, just like that, almost like you're spreading peanut butter on a sandwich. All right. At this point, you're going to use your brayer or your roller, and you're going to actually first put it down in that little smear of ink, and you're going to roll it down further, and you're just going to go left and right, up and down to spread this out. What this does is it spreads out that ink evenly on your roller. And notice I'm not still pulling from up here. If you're doing this and you're realizing you're not getting a whole lot of ink out there, then yes, you need to pull down some more. But when you look at your roller, it should look pretty even on there. It's hard to tell in the video, but you'll see the light reflect off of it. And once you have that pretty even on there and you get that sticky sound you're hearing right there, you're pretty much good to go. All right. At this point, you're going to come over to your linoleum, and you're going to put your roller down and go over it. Now you want to go over it in as many different angles as possible, and you want to try to see how the light reflects off of that ink you're putting on there. If you see parts that aren't reflected, like it's not shiny, it means you haven't gotten enough ink on that part. All right. Now with this, we make 3 separate prints because sometimes you may have put too much ink on it and it'll look all smudgy when we print it. Other times too little, so it won't be really solid. So that's kind of what we're going for. Now, as I'm looking at this, I don't think I've put enough ink on there. It's just not shiny enough. So I'm going to pull down a little bit more ink and kind of put more on the brayer. And then I'll go back over this again. And now, to me, it looks a lot more shiny. And if it sticks, that's okay. It'll do that. So just be kind of smooth with it. And when you're done, this is important, there's a bar on the back of your roller. Make sure that you lay it down on the bar, not on the actual roller part. And that way it's kind of set up and ready to go for the next person to use. So at this point, I'm going to move this newspaper out of the way. So on here, you're going to see it move off screen. I taped this down. Give me a second. There we go. I'm going to pull that off screen a little bit. And I'm going to bring my paper down. I want to be able to get that on the screen. There you go. So what you're going to do is very carefully pick up your piece, all right? And you want to flip it upside down. So you're going to be holding it. At this point, you want to line it up in the very center as much as possible and drop it down. You can't just drop it down, pick it back up, because at this point, it's already transferred a little bit. You're going to press down on that, and then you're going to scoot it off and flip it over. At this point, you're going to use your fingers to smooth everything down. Now, if you notice, I started to get a little bit of ink on here because it's on my fingers. That's okay to get on the back, but you want to try to keep your front as clean as possible. So a lot of times what people do is before they even touch this white paper, they'll go wash their hands. So you would ink your linoleum, wash your hands, then come back and pick it all up and start printing like this. All right, but you want to rub all the areas here, and this is what's going to help make that nice clean print. You should already be seeing it kind of show through a little bit. All right, and again, if you still notice that you've got ink on your fingers, this would be the perfect time to go ahead and wash your hands. All right, so then you're going to flip it over, kind of take that off, and you'll see that you have your print right here. All right? Now that's actually a pretty good print. You could tell that there's some lighter areas a little bit. Let's see if I can get that closer for you so you can see. There you go. See, you have some like lighter areas. They're a little speckled. That simply means that that area didn't have a whole lot of ink on it. Now this is a great print. Started off perfect. So what I'm going to do, once you're done with that first print, you're going to take your, let's see if I can move this down so you can see it a little closer. You're going to take your pencil and you're going to give it a title. You're going to say 1 out of 3 because this was your first print out of 3. And then you're going to write your name or sign it. It should be your signature. All right? Notice it's directly underneath the print, not on the bottom part of the page. And that is making a print. Now, see how I got some of this ink here? Your final one cannot have any ink on the outer edges. If that means you have to make 4 prints, if that means you have to make 5 prints, that's fine. You'll have to go back and change this. So if you end up making 6 prints because you have to get that perfect one, make sure you go back and change all your other ones out of 6. Some artists will even leave this part blank until they've made all their prints, so that pretty much it looks like 1 out of, and then it's blank, 2 out of blank, and when you're done, you can come back in. Okay?